Welcome back to Gucci World. Oh no, Guzzi. As I said, not been up to a lot. Removed that horrible rack off the back. I'll probably remove both mud guards and indicators, blinkers. Anyway, I digress. First off, thanks for tuning in again, or for the first time, if that's the case, if you're not a persistent offender. Meanwhile, of course, I set up a poll to see whether you would prefer I restored or Café racered the bike. And I have no idea what the results are, I haven't looked. Nah, I'm joking. Anyway, like I said, it wouldn't have made much difference because you know me. Honestly, looking at it, it would take more work to restore it to anything really nice than it will to create a Café racer out of it. Yes, I'm sorry Tim, but this is going to take more than a toothbrush to clean up. And like I said before, this is not the right switchgear. This is not even the right lever. That's not standard. But like I said, we're not going to be moving fast on this, so because that's still lurking in the background, as you can see, largely unchanged. So yeah, we're going to be doing a gentle dismantling, hopefully starting in earnest somewhere around the beginning of 2024. There will be updates from time to time. I think I've already made my mind up on a few things, like the wheels, for example. I'm going to leave them exactly as they are, actually. Apart from the hubs need some tarting up. But yeah, I'm not going to paint the wheels. They're in quite nice condition, and I kind of like this dulled effect that they have. So I'm going to leave those as they are. The forks, I think they've already been badly painted, so we're going to have to take them off, strip them down. That old gold that I did on the Honda, the 78 CB750. If you haven't watched that episodes, then please check them out. Fairly sure I'm going to switch out the fuel tank, as I said last time. Obviously going to chop those off about there. Motor wise, I think I'm just going to start up with a decent clean-up, you'll be pleased to hear, Mr. Mills. And then we'll see what's what. The frame definitely needs painting. It's just a question whether we stay with black or we go, I don't know, red, gold, who knows. Definitely going to try and do the rear sets. Been looking at the gear shift side of things, which was a little bit more complicated. Might even go for a little bikini fairing on this, a la 850 Le Mans. At the moment I'm just throwing ideas out there, and that's kind of the point of this video, because I'd really like to hear from you guys. As I say, nothing really serious is going to happen with this bike until next year, so I'd love to hear your ideas in the comments down here. Looking slimmer already. So all those parts are now broken down, up and on eBay. Sum total of potential sales of parts currently stands at $750. Not bad, eh? That brings the cost of the bike down to under £2,000. Yes, you may have seen my video on how to build a Café racer for net $0. I don't think that's going to be the case with this one, but we might end up with the bike actually paying for itself out of what we sell of the parts. Because we've got two exhaust mufflers for starters. Tank, that's got to be worth $250, but then I'm going to spend that on the other one. Headlamp, we're going to be replacing that with an LED alternative which actually lights things up. We'll be getting rid of the centre stand, the crash bars, and of course the seat. I don't know about these side panels yet. They don't seem to fetch much money, and I quite like them. The other thing I've been looking at just briefly is the stance of the bike. It's not quite level, as you can see. So we will be removing the front forks, least of all, so that we can refurbish them and the front wheel. I think those rear shocks will stay. They look like newer than original for sure. So I've had a few ideas so far. You saw them flash up in the intro. I'll let you have a longer look at them, none of them are necessarily the route I'm going at all, but just some ideas playing around in Photoshop. Let me know what you think. No, apart from Mr. Mills, we know what you think already. Main focus is the foot pegs, and so I've put some penetrating oil on these so we can actually take these pegs off, and that's quite a nice setup. And we may use the original pegs, we may just shorten them. Anyway, what I was looking at was something totally different. I've been looking at the handlebars. I think we're going to keep this throttle grip, although obviously we'll change the grip, and we might do our just turning upside down trick rather than adding clip-ons. We'll see. I was also looking at taking the headlight off so we can get the indicators off, get them on eBay, all that kind of stuff, looking at the front forks, and I found this, which is I've seen before obviously on the Honda. Yes, like that, like a T-junction effectively, which makes sense on the Honda because it's got not one but two discs, which clearly the Guzzi doesn't have. So why has it got one of those? Well, apparently Guzzi thought it was a good idea to put the front brake switch on the end of a cylinder rather than on the lever. Okay, so we can probably get rid of all that, even though this guy has obviously put in a nice new braided metal brake line. It splits at that point. But we will be replacing these levers in favour of something else much more funky and modern and whatever, like that. So our reservoir will go on top like that, and therefore the switch will be on the lever itself, which makes infinitely more sense to me. And yes, before you kick off, Mr. Mills, these are not original Guzzi levers either. Oh, what? He's not watching anymore? No? Alright. Whatever. So why don't we get those exhaust pipes off and get them on eBay. Talking of which, including the exhaust mufflers, silencers. If everything on this bike that I've taken off so far sells on eBay, the cost of the bike will be less than $500. Not bad for a fully running Guzzi, huh? Okay, now we got the mufflers off. We had a little bit more room to work around the foot pegs, and what we've got here, so this basically is the brake, because the brake of course is on the left hand side. Very pretty it is too, because the drive shaft is on the right hand side, all back to front. So this bar goes all the way through to the brake pedal, and likewise the gear shift has got a shaft that goes all the way through to the transmission. Unnecessarily complicated, or rather necessarily complicated. Anyway, that collar there holds the shaft in place, but it also holds this piece which holds that shaft in place. So here's the idea, and I haven't got a spare foot peg amazingly, but if we put the foot peg there, then we want the actual shift to be about where the kink is. That's about where your foot would come, like that. So I guess all we need to do is work out what size and pitch that is. An alternative is to use the existing peg and just shift it back, cut this end off completely, and have the pedal there, or rather the footrest there, in which case the gear shift would only have to be shortened a little bit. I don't really want to do that. Now I guess we could flip sides and use the rear passenger foot peg instead. That could work. And the same goes for the other side, so what is currently the foot peg will become the brake pedal, and your foot will rest here, which is good. Amazingly simple potentially, until we get whatever foot pegs we get and find that they are complicated to fit into that equation. As you may know from previous builds, foot pegs can be troublesome. What you also may have noticed when we took the pipes off is that I wasn't expecting like a foot of internal pipe to be there, but we'll leave it on for the time being until we know what exactly we're going to be doing with the exhaust. I'm thinking something similar to the Kawasaki and the Suzuki that we did before. Something like that. No, I know, I'm being remarkably refrained and not getting the angle grinder out yet. What I'm thinking is from this point on, we wrap it with some gold wrap, clean it up obviously, because our foot is going to be here, so we want it to come out behind our foot, and then just put one of those little doofers on the end, like the Kawasaki. This little doofer. Yeah. As for the rest of the rear end, whether we just go for a seat like on the Honda over there, or we actually put some kind of tailpiece on like the Kawasaki, I don't know yet. I just happen to have one handy. Yeah. So yeah, something like that, maybe. A bit higher at the back end. Who knows? There's the alternative. Compliments of the Honda. Yeah. Anyway, all that shuffling around, we seem to have knocked our average speed down to 80 miles an hour now. Yes, there's that ridiculous battery again. Why is he charging it up? Well, I thought we should fire it up without the mufflers on, see what it sounds like. Like that idea? I have to tell you, the switch is extremely pernickety in a truly Italian fashion. So there may be a degree of faffing involved. Sounds alarmingly like a Harley, wouldn't you say, Angelo? Anyway, I think we can all agree it ran when parked, or before I started messing around with it. So from here on in, I've only got myself to blame. Talking of which, I think we'll call it a day for this episode. Still very much open to suggestions as to which directions we should go. So if you thought the video was at all interesting or whatever, entertaining, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, subscribe down here somewhere. And of course, encourage others to watch my lunacy.